We're going to continue with the story of Mowgli's brothers from the Jungle Book. We have met Father Wolf, we have met Mother Wolf, who was once called the Demon, and they have taken a man cub into their home, who the Mother Wolf is named Mowgli. We've met Shere Khan, who badly wants to eat Mowgli, the man cub. And we have also met the Jackal, who is kind of Shere Khan's toady and who everybody is afraid of because he'd get rabies. Now that the wolves have adopted this man cub Mowgli, they have to present him to the tribe at the full moon, as is the law of the jungle, and we will continue from there. Father Wolf waited till his cubs could run a little, and then on the night of the pack meeting took them and Mowgli and Mother Wolf to the Council Rock, a hilltop covered with stones and boulders where 100 wolves could hide. Akela, the great gray lone wolf, who led all the pack by strength and cunning, lay out at full length on his rock, and below him sat 40 or more wolves of every size and color, from badger-colored veterans who could handle a buck alone to young black 3-year-olds who thought they could. The lone wolf had led them for a year now. He had fallen twice into a wolf trap in his youth, and once had been beaten and left for dead, so he knew the manners and customs of men. There was very little talking at the rock. The cubs tumbled over each other in the center of the circle where their mothers and fathers sat, and now and again a senior wolf could go quietly up to a cub, look at him carefully, and return to his place on noiseless feet. Sometimes a mother would push her cub far out into the moonlight to be sure that he had not been overlooked. Akela, we're going to say Akela and not Akela now, Akela from his rock would cry, "Ye know the law! Ye know the law! Look well, O wolves!" And the anxious mothers would take up the call, "Look! Look well, O wolves!" At last, and Mother Wolf's neck bristles lifted as the time came, Father Wolf pushed Mowgli, the frog, as they called him, into the center, where he sat laughing and playing with some pebbles that glistened in the moonlight. Akela never raised his head from his paws, but went on with his monstrous cry. "Look well!" A muffled roar came from behind the rocks, the voice of Shere Khan crying, "The cub is mine. Give him to me. What have the free people to do with a man's cub?" Akela never even twitched his ears. All he said was, "Look well, O wolves! What have the free people to do with the orders of any save the free people? Look well!" There was a chorus of deep growls, and a young wolf in his 4th year flung back Shere Khan's question to Akela. "What have the free people to do with the man's cub?" Now the law of the jungle lays down that if there is any dispute as to the right of a cub to be accepted by the pack, he must be spoken for by at least 2 members of the pack who are not his father and mother. "Who speaks for this cub?" said Akela. "Among the free people, who speaks?" There was no answer, and Mother Wolf got ready for what she knew would be her last fight if things came to fighting. Then the only other creature who was allowed at the pack council, Baloo, the sleepy brown bear, who teaches the wolf cubs the law of the jungle, old Baloo, who can come and go as he pleases because he eats only nuts and roots and honey, rose up on his hind quarters and grunted. "The man's cub, the man's cub," he said. "I speak for the man's cub. There is no harm in a man's cub. I have no gift for words, but I speak the truth. Let him run with the pack and be entered with the others. I myself will teach him." "We need yet another," said Akela. "Baloo has spoken, and he is our teacher for the young cubs. Who speaks besides Baloo?" A black shadow dropped down into the circle. It was Bagheera the Black Panther, inky black all over, but with the panther marking showing up in certain lights like a pattern of watered silk. Everybody knew Bagheera, and nobody cared to cross his path, for he was as cunning as Tabaqui, as bold as the wild buffalo, and as reckless as the wounded elephant. But he had a voice as soft as wild honey, dripping from a tree, and a skin softer than down. "Oh, Akela, and ye the free people," he purred. "I have no right to your assembly, but the law of the jungle says if there is any doubt, which is not a killing matter. But the law of the jungle says if there is a doubt, which is not a killing matter, in regard to the new cub, the life of the cub may be bought at a price, and the law does not say who may or may not pay that price. Am I right?" "Good, good," said the young wolves, who were always hungry. "Listen to Bagheera. The cub can be bought at a price. It is the law." "Knowing that I have no right to speak here, I ask your leave." "Speak, then," cried 20 voices. "To kill a naked cub is shame. Besides, he may make better sport for you when he is grown. Baloo has spoken on his behalf. Now to Baloo's word I will add 1 bull, and a fat one, newly killed, not half a mile from here, if he will accept the man's cub according to the law. Is it difficult?" There was a clamor of scores of voices saying, "What matter? He will die in the winter rains. He will scorch in the sun. What harm can a naked frog do us? Let him run with the pack. Where is the bull, Bagheera? Let him be accepted." And then came Akela's deep bay, crying, look well, O wolves!" Mowgli was still deeply interested in the pebbles, and he did not notice when the wolves came and looked at him one by one. At last they all went down the hill for the dead bull, and only Akela, Bagheera, Baloo, and Mowgli's own wolves were left. Shere Khan roared still in the night, for he was very angry that Mowgli had not been handed over to him. "Ah, roar well," said Bagheera under his whiskers, "for the time comes when this naked thing will make thee roar to another tune, or I know nothing of man." "It was well done," said Akela. "Men and their cubs are very wise. He may be a help in time." "Truly, a help in a time of need, for none can help to lead the pack forever. For none can hope to lead the pack forever," said Bagheera. Akela said nothing. He was thinking of the time that comes to every leader of every pack, when his strength goes from him and he gets feebler and feebler, till at last he is killed by the wolves and a new leader comes up to be killed in his turn. "Take him away," said the father wolf, "and train him as befits one of the free people." And that is how Mowgli was entered into the Seeonee wolf pack at the price of a bull and on Baloo's good word. Now, you must be content to skip 10 or 11 whole years and only guess at all the wonderful life that Mowgli led among the wolves, because if it were written out it would fill ever so many books. He grew up with the cubs, though they, of course, were grown wolves almost before he was a child, and Father Wolf taught him his business and the meaning of things in the jungle, till every rustle in the grass, every breath of the warm night air, every note of the owls above his head, every scratch of a bat's claws as it roosted for a while in a tree, and every splash of every little fish jumping in a pool meant just as much to him as the work of his office means to a businessman. When he was not learning, he sat out in the sun and slept, and ate and went to sleep again. When he felt dirty or hot, he swam in the forest pools, and when he wanted honey, Baloo told him that honey and nuts were just as pleasant to eat as raw meat, he climbed up for it, and that Bagheera showed him how to do. Bagheera would lie out on a branch and call, "Come along, little brother." At first Mowgli would cling like the sloth, but afterward he would fling himself through the branches almost as boldly as the gray ape. He took his place at the Council Rock, too, when the pack met, and there he discovered that if he stared hard at any wolf, the wolf would be forced to drop his eyes, and so he used to stare for fun. At other times he would pick the long thorns out of the pads of his friends, for the wolves suffered terribly from thorns and burrs in their coats. He would go down the hillside into the cultivated lands by night, and look very curiously at the villagers in their huts, but he had a mistrust of men because Bagheera showed him a square box with a drop gate so cunningly hidden in the jungle that he nearly walked into it, and told him that it was a trap. He loved better than anything else to go with Bagheera into the dark, warm heart of the forest, to sleep all through the drowsy day, and at night to see how Bagheera did his killing. Bagheera killed right and left as he felt hungry, and so did Mowgli, with one exception. As soon as he was old enough to understand things, Bagheera told him that he must never touch cattle, because he had been brought into the pack at the price of a bull's life. "All the jungle is thine," said Bagheera, "and thou canst kill everything that thou art strong enough to kill, but for the sake of the bull that bought thee, thou must never kill or eat any cattle, young or old. That is the law of the jungle." Mowgli obeyed faithfully. And he grew and grew strong as a boy must grow who does not know that he is learning any lessons, and who has nothing in the world to think of except things to eat. Mother Wolf told him once or twice that Shere Khan was not a creature to be trusted, and that some day he must kill Shere Khan. But though a young wolf would have remembered that advice every hour, Mowgli forgot it because he was only a boy, though he would have called himself a wolf if he had been able to speak in any human tongue. Shere Khan was always crossing his path in the jungle, for as Akela grew older and feebler, the lame tiger had come to be great friends with the younger wolves of the pack, who followed him for scraps, a thing that Akela would never have allowed if he had dared to push his authority to the proper bounds. Then Shere Khan would flatter them and wonder that such fine young hunters were content to be led by a dying wolf and a man's cub. "They tell me," Shere Khan would say, "that at council you dare not look him because between the eyes," and the young wolves would growl and bristle. Bagheera, who had eyes and ears everywhere, knew something of this, and once or twice he told Mowgli in so many words that Shere Khan would kill him some day, and Mowgli would laugh and answer, "I have the pack, and I have thee, and Baloo, though he is so lazy, might strike a blow or two for my sake. Why should I be afraid?" It was one very warm day that a new notion came to Bagheera, born of something that he had heard. Perhaps Ikki the porcupine had told him, but he said to Mowgli, when they were deep in the jungle, as the boy lay with his head on Bagheera's beautiful black skin, "Little brother, how often have I told thee that Shere Khan is thy enemy?" "As many times as there are nuts on that palm," said Mowgli, who naturally could not count. "What is it? I am sleepy, Bagheera, and Shere Khan is all long tail and loud talk, like Mao the peacock." "But this is no time for sleeping. Baloo knows it, I know it, the pack knows it, and even the foolish deer knows. Tabokai has told thee too." "Ho, ho!" said Mowgli. "Tabokai came to me not long ago with some rude talk that I was a naked man's cub and not fit to dig pig nuts, but I caught Tabaqui by the tail and swung him twice around a palm tree to teach him better manners." "That was foolish, for though Tabaqui is a mischief maker, he would have told thee of something that concerned thee closely. Open your eyes, little brother. Shere Khan dare not kill thee in the jungle, but remember, Akela is very old, and soon the day comes when he cannot kill his buck, and then he will be leader no more. Many of the wolves that looked thee over when thou wast brought to the council first are old too, and the young wolves believe, as Shere Khan has taught them, that a man-cub has no place with the pack. In a little time thou wilt be a man, and we will pause there.